let's get into UFC 260. Stipe Ngannou as the headliner at the UFC Apex Center Saturday night. Main card starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Get your popcorn ready for a heavyweight showdown.
This is my fucking shit right here. Let's go.
All right. Let's get the breakdown of the fight from my boy, the Husky boy.
All right.
Husky Messiah.
Main event. Shout out to Brian Ortega because I feel, it's shitty that Volkanovski-Ortega fight fell through. But Stipe, Francis, the
Just put
rematch.
Max in there instead. Max will fight.
I really wish they would have. Like, when I seen that fell through, my first thought was, can Max go? Is Max available? Fuck Volkanovski. Get him the interim belt. I want to see Max and Ortega run it back. I know I'm sidebarring it, but I need to see that again. But anyway, Francis Ngannou, Francis the Predator, Stipe, the big dumb fireman, Miocic from the homeland, Cleveland, Ohio. All right, yeah, Cleveland, I love it. All right. This is also my upset of the week, is I got Stipe taking it again in the rematch. Stipe has been looking good. Look at his last fight. For those of you who don't know, Stipe beat Francis back in 2017, fucked him to death, and just popped him on the ground. And let's not forget, too, that he ate a few those fucking scary-ass hammers from Mr. Ngannou. He took them to his punch-drunk melon and, walked through it and said, double leg, double leg, double leg, I can take it. But at the same time, he put hands on him. Stipe was slipping and then bop with the 1-2, lighting Francis up, even wobbled him pretty good at one point in time. So let's not forget that on the stand-up, Stipe kind of took a very slight advantage. You know what I mean? Fast forward.
I hear you.
Stipe has his 3 fights with Daniel Bitch Boy Cormier. Lost the first one. Most argue that his brain might have been still a little rattled from the hammers he took from Francis. Only I think 6 months or so before that.
Not to mention he couldn't see out of one of his eyes.
Yeah, because, your boy Daniel likes to rip people's balls out. Eyeballs. Pause. And,
show us your balls.
The DC rematch comes through, shows that he has the ability to make good mental adjustments mid-fight. Was kind of getting his face kind of battered on by Daniel in the first half. Hits a point, realizes the body's open, knowingly talks to his coaches about it, makes the adjustment, gets the knockout based off the body shot. Third fight, we see a new Stipe, a lighter Stipe, moving more, slipping more, looking lean and mean, much more leaned out physique, much lighter on his feet, hands looking a little crispier. He's moving, he's slipping, he's moving, he's slipping. Still getting his eyes raked because, that's just how fucking Daniel likes to roll.
He got one in there on the third fight.
Yeah, about tore his eye clean out. He had to take some months to recover. He's about ripped the boy's retina. But anyway, from what I've been watching, I've been looking, Stipe's looking lean and mean once again. His footwork is looking lighter and crispier than I've ever seen it. He's down to move, which is what you got to do with Francis. You can't stand there and bang with Francis. You have to move. It looks like he's taking the appropriate measures to move. His wrestling's looking clean. His grappling's clean. Stipe's wrestling's always been on point, even though he doesn't use it unless necessary. But Stipe's looking appropriately prepared to go in there again with Francis Ngannou and win with a good game plan.
Can I give you my key to the fight real quick on that note?
What you got?
Key to the fight, because it's at the Apex Center in a small octagon, is going to be lateral movement.
Yes.
From Stipe. Not backwards, side to side.
You need side to side, and if you're going backwards, it's got to be at an angle. Got to be diagonal.
Yep.
You got to get the head down, slip and move, which he was doing great at in the first fight. But look over at Francis, and we're going to rewind to the first Stipe fight. He says when he had his first shot with Stipe, he was so shook by the crowd in the moment, yada, yada, yada. He also said going into that his team was talking about how good his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu was coming along. Well, that was a fucking lie because his shit looked like trash. He got wrestle fucked, looked like the boy ain't never been to a day of wrestling practice in his life. Fast forward present day, he's had, 3 fights since then? 3 W's. He took an L directly after the Stipe fight, took an L to Derek Lewis, where he looked like he was afraid to even come near Derek, and Derek was pissed off about it. But if you watch that, Derek Lewis would, take a step, and Francis would, like he's fucking shook, scared, which lets you know that Stipe must have hit him, cracked him decently for him to be that fainty. You know what I mean? He was shook by the loss. Holds that L in probably one of the most boring fights other than a Kamaru Usman fight I've ever seen. And then he gets up against Cain Velasquez, who's way washed past his prime, and just wades straight into him to where, Francis can hit him with an uppercut without even having to move. He just came to him. He's like, cool, bang. That one's over. Goes to fight Curtis Blades, who takes terrible sloppy wrestling shots on him and gets blasted in the back of the dome piece without ever even considering slipping his head off the center line. Wins that one. And then he comes out against Rosenstrike, where he just runs across the ring like a fucking crazy person and uses not a single ounce of technique and just says, and just battered that man to unconsciousness in 20 seconds.
Moving backwards.
Well, yeah. Just
He went straight backwards.
No
side to side.
Yeah.
The dude ran away straight backwards, which is the problem.
Didn't move his head. Didn't try to even do anything. He just went, shit, and ran backwards.
Side. You duck under and go to the side, and that shit ain't going to happen.
Or dip down and shoot a double.
All day.
That's what Stipe did, and he made it look like cake. So here, I'm looking at Francis, and all he's talking about is the same spiel again. His team's saying the wrestling's there. His team's saying the jiu-jitsu's there. I seen on the Embedded, one of the early episodes of him, transitioning from 3/4 guard into a side control and then working a head and arm triangle. And I was telling old girl I was sitting here with her, and she was like, I know you don't know anything about this, but that shit looks sloppy as hell. I was like, and that's coming from a white belt. That shit looks like trash. You know what I mean? That dude's you can tell the coach is trying to sell it for the fucking camera, but I'm not fucking buying it. That jiu-jitsu ain't there. That man is so big. There's no way the cardio's there. They didn't even show him doing cardio at any point. He's once again hitting pads, throwing kicks, and lifting weights.
Well, it's really, really hard for people that big, and we've seen this throughout all sports, to be coordinated. Now, to hit hard, being that big and that muscular, hitting hard is very natural. Okay, if you can throw hard, you can hit hard. It's pretty standard. But being that big and having good movement, because striking is feet, mostly feet, right? You can get away with a lot by having hammers, but it's mostly feet. And on the ground, it's about awareness.
Yep.
You have to know where your limbs are and what limbs are being attacked.
And you also have to know not just one step ahead. You need to know 2 steps ahead.
Right. And that's why most grappling practices and practitioners say that it's a system, right? Grappling is not it's not supposed to be so reactionary, right? You need that in there. The best jiu-jitsu practitioners they're able to move in rhythm, right? But let's be honest here, that's practiced. Nobody moves in a jiu-jitsu way immediately. Nobody does that right away.
It's not a natural
incredibly
thing.
Difficult. Right, because you immediately think that you need to move a different way. And usually that falls right into something. That tends to be the point behind jiu-jitsu, is that what you do ends up screwing you unless you know what you're doing. So for somebody as big as Francis, I think it's really hard to learn jiu-jitsu, I think. Especially because there's no one in the gym who's big enough to really out-muscle you. No. That dude is huge. That dude is a freak of nature. He can probably out-muscle most dudes in the gym. Well, it's like what I said about Curtis Blades. Who in the gym is making him shoot good takedowns?
Nobody. He can get away with shooting sloppy takedowns.
Exactly. So It'll be interesting because I don't think Francis has a sparring partner that is on Stipe's level.
And that was about to be my next point too. Is the sparring partners that he has are subpar, and from most of the sparring footage that's leaked out there, it's basically Francis just beating on them and them being scared to get hit.
Well, and when it comes to grappling, so striking, you can cycle people out, and it's basically you have people change styles and whatnot. But we've seen it with let's go with Khabib. A lot of people will do nothing but practice not staying on the ground and getting taken down by Khabib.
Yeah,
but you don't have anyone in your gym that can do what he does.
You can't make it feel the same.
That's like you need like Jordan Burroughs shooting takedowns on you, and he's gonna win pretty much every time.
Every time.
You don't have a Khabib. You don't have him in your gym, and that's something that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to MMA, is that your training partners are a huge, huge deal. They're a huge deal. It's not necessarily what you've been working on; it's who you've been working on it with.
You hear it all the time. Iron sharpens iron. Who are you in the gym with?
You've been playing touch butt in the park with that dork with the ponytail.
That's why you look at these gyms like American Top Team with like DP and all those guys down there, George and all them. It's like those dudes are going to war with the best of the best every day. You can't be like Francis.
You don't think that part of Cody's success against Dominik Cruz was the fact that TJ was training with him?
Yeah, you don't think that over there at Alpha Male with all those 135-pound murderers, that they're not fucking just pushing each other every day to be that alpha dog in the gym? You know what I mean?
Not only that, but Herky-Jerky style is what TJ does well, so you spar with Herky-Jerky all day in your own gym, actually the guy who's better at it, and then you go fight Dominik Cruz for the title. You're going to smash that dude.
Well,
that's how that goes.
Here's my thing with Francis is he's training with sparring partners that are big, round, fat heavyweights. No offense, like people like Latifi and shit that I've seen him sparring with. They're not moving like Stipe's going to move. They're not lean and light on their feet. They're heavy-footed and they're just getting plowed on. And he's, you don't really show all of what happens in the gym. You know what I mean? So there's a mystery effect, but I kind of know who's in your gym. I kind of know who you're sparring with. You're sparring heavy-footed dudes that don't move a lot. You know what I mean?
Look how hard it was. Look at how hard it was for Conor going in to fight Floyd when you cannot find a sparring partner that can do what Floyd does.
No,
he doesn't exist.
You can't bring in Paulie Malignaggi and Artem Lobov and think that they're going to ever be as artfully defensive as Floyd fucking Money Mayweather. Just because you're beating the brakes off them doesn't mean you're going. You know what I mean? You're not even going to touch that man.